And the conclusion was, if we don't learn today, tomorrow when our children will ask us questions, we will not be able to answer them. And when we are not able to answer them, they will look for answer somewhere else. And when they go outside to look for answer, it brings danger inside. क्योंकि उनके concept और हमारे concept same नहीं होंगे. और हमारी जो understanding, हमारी जो समझ होगी, never be same. तो इमाम ने हमको 1960 के अंदर ये हुक्म फरमाया था. और आपको सबको ये फरमान याद होगा कि आपके बच्चे आपको सवालात पूछेंगे. हो सकता है कि आज आपकी नज़र से ये बात दूर हो, लेकिन believe me, tomorrow वो आपके सामने होगी. 1960 में मौलाना फरमाया है कि आपके बच्चे आपसे सवाल पूछेंगे. Meaning, parents needs to learn first. If parents doesn't know, how they will answer their children. And then ये responsibility children पर भी होती है. If they don't learn today, tomorrow they will have their own homes, and next generation will be even more curious than this generation. हमारी generation भी बहुत curious थी, लेकिन compared to this generation, we were not. Can you imagine उनकी next generation कितनी curious होगी हमारे मज़हब के बारे में? And I will tell you some of the questions that they have asked. And there's a book set over there that Shaina just got. We have answered a lot of those questions in those books. But we will verbalize over here. It'll be easy to hear and understand. ताकि हम खुद भी हम सवाल कर सकें ना. क्योंकि जो चीज़ हमको जिस तरह नजर आती है ना कभी कभार, वो इस तरह नहीं होती है. Until we ask and then we say, oh my God, okay. ये इसको इस तरह से समझना था, इसको इस तरह से समझना था. And inshallah we will try to learn that today. Inshallah. So from last class she had some question. Just show to camera side over there. Yeah.
So we were talking mostly about the reasons of when we have Abhishafa and why we have it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we forgot to ask that how come in student madas we do, but in other Tori madas we don't.
Good. All right. And what about the Shab Barat, Eid Milad al-Nabi? And we haven't talked.
Because well, from that, now that you say that, Friday is Prophet Muhammad's day, and Shab Barat and Milad al-Nabi kind of also include the Prophet, and it's probably why, but I could be wrong. I don't know.
No, you're absolutely right. Okay. So हमने न्याज के बारे में बात की थी, and I'll try to speak in English so you guys will understand. So we were talking about niyaz. Have we ever thought why we have a niyaz on Friday, but not on Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday? Why only on Friday? Then why do we have niyaz on Chandrat? And why do we have niyaz every morning? Remember in Ismaili tariqah, we have no hocus pocus, meaning we just don't do things because we are just doing it. Every single action that we take in Jamasana, and I mean every single action, you take it from the Hazinda all the way to Dua, Niyaz, Chanta, Memani, all the way until we come out to the Shoes Committee. Every single action we take, including Moulapa's picture on the wall, has a meaning to it. Khali hocus pocus nahi hai. We just don't do it because we are doing it, or because our parents told us to do it. Every single thing has some kind of significance, some kind of meaning, some kind of ta'wil, understanding, interpretation to it. So we were talking about niyaz, that why do we have niyaz on Friday? And we went into the historical thing and we understood the Friday is the day of Prophet Muhammad. So you would ask, how did we conclude it then? How do we know Friday is for Prophet Muhammad? So we went and looked inside the Quran to find out that Allah says that I have made this world in 6 days. And those days are not Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, but actually those days are related to a natik, a prophet. Right? When I say natik, sometime when we have some more time, we will talk about what is the difference between prophet. In English, they're all prophet. But in our language, in Arabic and Urdu and Persian, we have a different term for different prophets. So we have a Nabi, Rasul, Pegambar, and Natik. English, all those four are one single prophet. Or we have a rich language, then we have different word for different position of the prophets. Meaning prophet has different position. And each position holds a different rank or the name. And we will talk about that in some other class. So let's come back to this Friday. So the Sunday stands for Adam. Monday stands for Hazrat Noah. You know Ark, Noah's Ark? Okay. Tuesday stands for Hazrat Ibrahim, Prophet Ibrahim. Wednesday stands for Moses. Thursday stands for Jesus. And Friday stands for Hazrat Prophet Muhammad. So the Friday we celebrate the day of the Prophet, and due to that we have Niyaz in our Jamaat. Niyaz itself stands for, so what do we have in Niyaz? First of all, water, right? The water stands for knowledge or the wisdom. Knowledge stands for water. So when we're drinking Niyaz on Friday, and we will talk about again what we have talked about last week, all the everything inside the Niyaz has a meaning. So what we are saying on the Friday, that first we are Muslim, second we follow the Muhammad and we follow his knowledge and his talimat, education, whatever he has taught us, we follow that. In the morning Niyaz, and look at the difference between Friday and morning, we have Niyaz every morning. That shows that we have Imam 7 days a week, meaning always. So Imam's knowledge, Imam's wisdom, and Imam education for us is on daily basis, always. And that is every single morning. Prophet Muhammad knowledge and wisdom and education represents, it's not that we don't take his knowledge on Thursday and Friday or Saturday or Sunday. It's representation, symbolically, we show that on Friday, because Friday is the day of Prophet Muhammad. Alright? So we're going to recap what we talked about last week. You remember on the Niyaz part, what do we have? We have a water gallon, right? We have a kum, the big bowl. We have a cup. And then we have all those small pialis, right? Have you ever thought why in that sequence? And why can we not just have like some kind of water fountain we can just drink out of? Can we not just drink directly out of a gallon to the Niyaz ki piali? Why do we have that kum? Why do we have to have that cup? And what about all those rites and rituals that we do in between? You know, opening the Niyaz, having dua, and then we say Farman, and Jamaat says Ya Liya Muhammad. This is what we were talking about last week, that most of us do lot of rites and rituals, all these kiryas, ceremonies, we just do it blindly and don't even give second thought to it. And we should. Because we are no longer people of blind faith. When does blind faith comes into play? When we don't have enough knowledge. For example, when you guys were 5, 4, 3-year-old, your mom and dad would say, go do your brush, go comb your hair, wash your hand. What about now? When you wake up, you know you're supposed to brush, you're supposed to comb, you're supposed to wash your hand before eating. You already know that. She does not have to tell you that anymore. Meaning, she taught you what to do, and second, she also educated you why you have to brush your teeth. What are the benefits of it? Why you have to comb your hair and keep your hair clean? Why do you have to wash your hands before you eat? Right? She educated you on those matters. Now she doesn't have to tell you. You just do it because you know what is right and what is wrong. So in Jamaat Khana, following blind faithfully is an example of a child of 3, 4, 5-year-old. And we are not children anymore. We are educated Jamaat, and we need to pay attention to what we are doing. Meaning, we need to go out and learn. As we do in dunya, right? We go to schools, we go to colleges, we take all these different courses and learn about whatever we need to do and wanted to be expert in. Just like that, we need to be expert in our religion. We should not follow our religion blindly. Okay? So, let's come to those 4 things in the niyaz. Right? And I have said something about peer last time, and I was trying to use a simplest language for us to understand. But today I'm going to use those right terms, and then we'll come back to those easy languages. Okay? So 4 things: the water gallon, the kum, the cup, and the niyaz ki pyali. Those 4 represent, the first one represents aklekul, universal intellect. The kum represents nafsekul, universal soul, and I will explain that in all this in a minute, okay? So those are the correct terms. The cup represents peer, the hujjat, and the pyali represents dai, the one who gives knowledge to the Jamaat. Okay? So now, let's start from the upfront. So what do we see before even niyaz starts? We see water of gallon. Everything is closed, right? We only see water of gallon. The water of gallon, which represents aklekul, universal intellect, just to understand easily, let's say there is a nur of Allah. That everything is encompassed in that nur, in that gallon. All the water, all the niyaz, everything that coming out later on is in this gallon. All in one place. Meaning, water does not matter if the water is in the kum, in the cup, or in the pyali. It's all going to come from where? From this gallon. But it's not going to come directly from gallon to the pyali, but it's going to go through its courses, which is kum, the cup, and then the pyali. Okay? So this is the nur, or water is representation of what? Education, knowledge, wisdom. So all the wisdoms are belong to Allah. And that is representation of that gallon of water. The kum now, second. So kum takes its knowledge from the gallon, aklekul, the universal intellect. Who's taking knowledge from intellect? Universal intellect? The universal soul. Alright? So to understand this two connection, think of ourselves. What do we have? Intellect, we have a soul, and we have a body. We have 3 things. Okay? So our intellect guides our soul, and then our soul guides our body. Meaning, without the intellect, even if you have a soul, and even if you are alive, what do they call you if you don't have intellect? Huh?
Vegetable.
Thank you. Vegetable. When you're in a coma, what happens? You still have a soul. You still have a body. What shuts down? Your intellect. Your brain shuts down. Correct? Okay. So from the intellect comes the knowledge to the kum, which is the representation of universal soul. Okay? Now, universal soul is a representation of easy language, Imam. So where does intellect, universal intellect works? In the Imam, in the comb. Now, in the comb, the water is open. Do you see that? In the gallon, it was all locked up. But when it came in the comb, the water is open. From the Imam, people can see the water and they can drink the water, or at least is reachable to everybody because it's open now. From there, from the Imam, who takes the knowledge and gives to the pyali? The cup, right? The cup is the representation. In the correct language, we call it hujjat. In our language, we call it peer. So peer takes the knowledge from the Imam and gives to whom? Dai. Remember those pyali? Dai. And who do we take the knowledge from? From the Dai, the pyali. We don't drink from the cup, nor we drink from the comb, nor we drink from the gallon. And this system is called Hudud-e-Deen system. The ranks of the religion. Hierarchy of the religion. So hierarchy is from intellect, universal intellect, take the knowledge or goes into the universal intellect, universal soul, from universal soul, from Imam, the knowledge goes to the peer, and from the peer, knowledge goes to the Dai, and we take the knowledge from the Dai. Now, somebody can challenge instantly, well, we don't have a Dais today. We don't even have a peer today. We only have an Imam. And we cannot even see Allah. So who do we take the knowledge from? Huh? Look at her. What's your name, beta?
Zia.
My God.
Subhanallah.
Subhanallah.
Good job.
Recently, just last July, Imam gave this rank to all Ismailis. Right? Dai.
Subhanallah. Good job.
And we just read that Farman yesterday, right?
Jamaat Khana.
In Jamaatana. Just yesterday. In Jamaatana. Imam saying, all of you are Dai. Why do we take knowledge from each other? Because we cannot just fly to Paris, Aiglemont, or to Lisbon and knock on Molaba's door and say, give us knowledge. It doesn't work like that. Imam has representatives in the Jamaat to take the knowledge from. And that is an example of those piyalis. Meaning, there are multiple. You see, multiple piyalis, right? Sometimes there are 8, sometimes there are 12, depending on the Jamaat. Meaning, there are multiple people within the Jamaat, known or unknown. They are the representative or the ambassador or the Dais, whatever name you want to call, that they have the knowledge of the Peer, of the Imam, and of the Nur. And through them comes to the Jamaat. Alright? So that is the example and understanding of Niyaz. Can you imagine if that's how deep our religion is? What about all these other rites and rituals we do? All these other ceremonies. The Nandi, the Memani, the Awal Sufro, the Dua Karani, the Chata. What about the
Zinda?
Hai Zinda?
So, I have a question.
Ji.
Does the intent matter or the execution of the ceremony is that what matters?
Good question.
Intent always matters.
So, because a lot of people in Jamaat Khan, they interpret things in Jamaat Khan very differently from each other. But if you still have the intent, then what role do ceremonies play in your intent then?
Okay. So let's say that one person in Pakistan and one person in Canada and one person in, let's say, Africa. We all have a different way of doing things. Execution, right? Different way of things. What are they all intend to do? Do you see that? Different rites and ritual or the way of doing things, intention is the same. Always. So in Pakistan, we don't have a gallon of water. So what do we have? We have this big jar, we call it gara.
Ghada.
This big pot of water. Right? Right? And then, you know how our comb is like this? Over there the comb is like this. Right? And then the cup that we use over here is much smaller. Over there you will see this big metal cup. Why? Look at the quantity of Jamaat there.
Yeah, even number of pyalis.
Yeah, and number of pyalis will be much, much higher. So to compare that, if you go to your ECD center, or you just went to REC, right? How many classroom and teachers we have? Let's say 5, 10. Now you go to your school, how many rooms and teachers here? Because of the population, right? Collectively, how many people are there to take the knowledge or drink the niyaz? So you have to multiply that by whatever you're going to be doing, right? Okay. So intention matters. So there is one of the hadith. You know what hadith is? One of the hadith says, there is no good deeds without the intention. No good deeds. Meaning, by mistake, if you do a good deed, it does not count in your favor. Did you intend to do that good favor or good deeds? Then it counts in your favor. Intention is a must. So, an example of that, and we say that as a joke sometimes, that going out in rain and taking shower does not constitute that you took a shower. You see that? It sounds like a joke, right? But you still took a shower. Can you come home and say, Mom, I already took my shower today. When did you do that? Oh, I went outside in the rain. We don't count that, right? That's without intention. By accident, when you go into shower, that's by intent. You went there to clean yourself. Right? So even though it sounds like a joke, but you get the example, right? That is the example. Okay. So, Naskul ke Mallas mein, why do we have niyaz? And there are other days that we have niyaz.
Can I add something from his behalf?
Sure.
That why do we have to go through so many ceremonial things if my intent is just to drink niyaz and get knowledge? Can I skip all those process?
No, you can't. And why we can't? Why can we not skip all that? And we already explained. You only can take the knowledge from the rank above you. An example of that is, can you not just go online and take all the education you need? Why do you have to go to school? Can you take the knowledge from the admin office people there or the principal there? No, you can't. You have to go to your teacher. Can you take English class in a science room? No, you can't. You have to go to English class to get English. Meaning, everything has a purpose in place. So you take the knowledge from someone right above you. And the example in family. So what do we see? We take initial knowledge from parents. Then we start to go to school. Then we take secondary knowledge from the school. And then we finish that. We take admission in college. We take higher education from the professors. Then what happens? You go into continuing education. Now you get online and you continue your education, or you readmit yourself into some university again. Meaning, you don't go back to ECD again. You never go back to ECD. When you're done with that, you just keep moving up and up and up. So what did I just say? If you are done taking knowledge from the Dai, what is your natural second step? Take the knowledge from the peer. When can you take the knowledge from the peer? When you are at the rank of Dai already. Because we are poor in knowledge, we are poor all the way in our understanding, in our good deeds. we have to take knowledge from the dai until we actually become a dai. So question from you is, when Mullah Baba says, all of you are my dai, are we dai or not? I mean, what changed from on 10th of July to 11th of July when Mullah Baba says, you are my dai? Nothing, right? So we are potentially dai, not actual dai. When do we become actual dai? When we have all the knowledge equivalent to dai. And an example of that is, let's say somebody is going to have a PhD. He's going to be a doctor. So he goes through all the books, he learns everything, he even takes the exams. Let's say he even passes the exam. Is he a doctor? Not yet. He doesn't have a certificate yet. Right? You see how that is? So we are those guys who has passed everything, no certificate yet.
What if you have the skills to be a doctor and you don't have a certificate?
Then he cannot practice.
But I mean, you still are not considered a doctor, but you still have this. Like, what's the certificate in becoming a dai then? Like, you have the knowledge, and what denotes you as a dai as opposed to any other person?
Okay, good. So, one of the characteristics of the dai and the peer are, if you go to an actual dai, not a potential dai, they will be able to answer any question that you have. Because they have a certification and they can write the prescription for you. Now, if you go to a doctor who has passed the test but doesn't have a
license to practice,
he can still analyze you. He can still tell you what's wrong with it. What he cannot do for you?
Prescription.
Write the prescription. That's the difference between actual and potential. So we all potentially die. Why? Because Imam said so. He given us that title. So what is he doing? We call that as Duwaya title. Alright, who's going to explain Duwaya title?
Simply, dua is praying, right? So he's praying for us that a blessing.
Yeah, he's blessing us with a title. Now it is our job to become actual dai or become a part of the system by doing what? Exactly what we are doing today. By learning about our religion. And let's take a couple of more examples, okay? Of actual dai and potential dai.
Seed and a
So,
tree.
huh?
Seed and a tree.
Yeah, seed and tree. So I'll let him explain that part, seed and tree.
I mean, potentially a seed is a tree, all right? But until it is put into the ground and given the heat, the water, the air, fertilizer, everything which is needed to become that seed into a tree, that seed is potentially tree, but it cannot become tree until it is put into the ground. After a while, with the nature, in few weeks or months, you see a tree starts growing, and now that seed has actualized itself to become a tree. Same way, Imam has given us the dai's title already, but that is just in potential, until we sit into this kind of majalises or in this kind of meeting and learn enough. Like she said, how do we learn? From each other. Yes? So we are learning from each other, and from us, someone has more knowledge than the rest. That's the reason we are here today, yeah? So now once we take that knowledge, we will be in that position that now we have actualized ourselves into a dai, but that doesn't stop us there. It becomes our responsibility to pass on this knowledge to the next person, to actualize other Jamaati member to become a dai. Because now, if we have taken the true knowledge, not the book's knowledge or general knowledge, the true knowledge from a true teacher, then we have become a true Dai. And now we start giving out the knowledge to the rest of the Jamaat.
Thank you, Barka Bhai. That's a very good example.